All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. Hello, Croncium.
Howdy.
How are you doing?
I'm
Go
great,
ahead.
yeah.
Okay. So Croncy posted a video. I just watched it, and we've come up with a new term. It's no longer Copium, it's Croncium. But
Yeah.
no, it's been a week. It's been a crazy week
Yeah.
since we were last here. They kind of dropped a few things. Obviously, we talked about the jump points last week, but a lot has happened with them since. A lot of speculation around them, and honestly, my favorite quality of life update since their quality of life initiative stuff has begun.
Really?
Since 318, actually.
Fair enough.
Since multi-crew, since the cargo update, actually. Yeah, that's where I'll put it.
Okay.
Since the cargo update,
Okay.
the best quality of life thing that they've ever put in the game for me. Some people may like it, may not like it. And general Copium takes from the community are going to be a fun topic to discuss. So,
yes.
What do you want to start with? The jump points and the fact that they have, obviously, they're in the patch notes. They're confirming them. We got to start out with it. Do you think it was on purpose, or now after seeing everything, or do you think it is a reaction to the fact that we found them? I feel like this was the SitCon demo and that we fucked it up for them.
No, it was never not on purpose. It was on purpose the entire time, 100%, because they also reacted to it way too quick and were able to debug like all of the jump points way too quick for it not to be on purpose, in my opinion.
Maybe.
So I think the entirety of it, 100% on purpose. And it definitely worked. It definitely drummed up an insane amount of hype this week.
Yeah.
From me as well, from a lot of people in the community that are even, those people who are a little bit more negative towards the game. Even some hype from them. Different levels. Some people saying 4.0 is coming tomorrow. Other people just saying, hey, it's a cool thing regardless. So that was pretty big. One thing is, we were talking about these last week because we had only seen the buggy pyro jump point by that stage, but we've now gotten to see all three jump points. The textures of the gas clouds there are amazing. They're really, really cool to see for the first time. I guarantee I'll get bored of them really quickly, but
of course,
they still look awesome. Yeah.
I mean, they are. If I remember correctly, this is the jump point that we saw at Pyro. It looked just like this in the demos, but they were, at some point I saw it in the month report or something, that they were remaking it and that they were trying to make sure that it still lived up to that really cool look. Like, I really, one of the best things is when coming from a little bit of a distance away, it looks a bit like a pineapple or whatever, but if you really, the fact that everything is coming to that center point of where you would be jumping to, it reads like what it is. And I feel like when or if exploration ever does become a thing, because one of the biggest things on that are related to, the most exciting thing for me that really drew me to Star Citizen way back in 2012 was the potential to find a jump point and name it after yourself. That was a thing that they said back then. Well, whether that's a thing today is a whole nother story. But I think now we visually know what a jump point cloud might look like. So if you happen to come across one in your travels, you know what you're looking for, which is cool. Not name it after yourself, but name it. I think they naming it after yourself was an option. I wouldn't name it after myself. I would. There would be a troll name, but it would be like Jumpy McJumpface or something like that, right? That's what the name would be, obviously. But so from visually, it's awesome. Everyone's excited for it. That's awesome. What that means for the game, I just think it's basically they are very much on the road now to Pyro and on the road to working on the features or things that are going to lead to it. So they have to make sure that the locations work and look good. And I don't think this was to drum up hype necessarily. That's why I don't think it was on purpose. I think it was actually meant to look good for the demo, but also be in game at some point to be ready. These locations have to be ready before we use them. And I think that's all that really was. I don't think it's that big of a thing. I also don't think that means that it's Pyro by the end of the year. You know, I just think that it means that we need to be ready for it when it's ready.
Yeah, for me, the little bit of me that thinks Pyro by the end of the year actually has nothing to do with the jump points and everything to do with the roadmaps, the monthly reports,
Replication,
and the replication layer stuff. Yeah, 100%. And even then, it's still only a little bit of me that thinks it might happen. So one thing though is the reason that I'm still like, I think it was maybe it wasn't deliberately to make hype that they released it, but I still feel like it has to have been that they deliberately posted it because they mentioned in the monthly report that the economy team, because we got both a monthly report and a roadmap roundup this week. The economy team, one of their first big tasks was to make the hull C not pointless, and so they were able to use these stations for some actual like trade routes.
Yeah,
and like that wouldn't have been a oops. All right, chuck some trade on there sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And like while I was watching your video, I knew that there was trade routes there, but then I just for some reason it didn't cross my mind, and I was like, are they trading different commodities at these? And they are. So that's pretty cool. And let's talk about the stations for a little bit, because I have a little bit of a gripe on those. Is they're very much like the ones, the LEO stations or whatever, the ones that are above the cities, and I feel like these will be eventually very different looking and are currently super placeholder. And my biggest gripe about them is every single cargo deck on every single station looks exactly the same. And like
cargo decks are not different at all.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
And the focus of these locations are absolutely going to be two things, right? The refinery stuff for fuel, because you're jumping, you're going to need some fuel, and trading. Right? It's sort of how I look at these locations, is they're going to be massive trade hubs for these systems. It's the first thing you come in from Terra. Like, imagine how busy that location should be. Well, the station should represent how busy that location is meant to be, and it currently doesn't. So I know a lot of people, I noticed that people were really excited about those stations. That was actually my most disappointing part of it, was that they were just like the others, and I was hoping for a lot more, but that's what makes me feel like they weren't ready and weren't,
I think in terms of pretty much all of the stations internally, they really need to like change things up a bit because they look too cookie cutter. I do have a problem with people that say that the externals look exactly the same, because they actually don't.
They don't.
They've just got the same aesthetic.
My issue is the cargo deck. That's it.
Yeah.
Like the externals,
internally, they all look terrible.
Whether you have like a vertical with the circle, or they are
been using the Seraphim
different
rings for this one as well, which has been cool.
Yeah, they could do a bit more. Everyone can say, I would like a bit more variety, and I think that's fine. But I just, because cargo is such a big part of the game, it feels like it's just so that was like they could do so much more with that, and they haven't yet. And that obviously continues with the cargo deck internals and the gameplay that's there and all that stuff, or the lack of it, obviously. But there's so much more they could do there, and I would say that was the only thing I was actually disappointed by. Other than, I guess, the fact that there is no jump gate.
Yeah, even if it was like inactive, I would have liked to have just seen it there, because right now it's just you have the pathway to get there, and then it's just empty.
Yeah, and it needs to be there. I think it was Morph that brought up the World of Warcraft, the gates that have been there forever, and when it was time for the expansion, everybody was waiting there. That's what these should be for now for us. That's what we spent a lot of time in Stanton. We're going to spend a little bit more. We'll see how much more that is, and I think everyone's going to be really excited waiting to jump through that gate when it's time. But yeah, I don't know if we let's jump into our first caller. They said they didn't have much time, so we'll see if this is what they want to talk about, and maybe they shift our conversation around a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Stempek. Stempek, you're muted right now, and now he's not, so he can hear us. Cool. Welcome, Stempek.
Hello. Thank you. Nice being here again.
Of course. Nice having you as always.
First of all, hi, Croncy. I think it's the first time.
Howdy. Most likely, yeah.
I really enjoyed the ATCs with you.
Awesome.
Was a good idea from Mike to bring a second host.
Those are the only kind I have.
Yeah, I've been telling everyone Mike's got good ideas.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, where should I start? Jump points? Like the implementation, I actually don't care that much because it's, it's a new waypoint and so on. And I know the meaning people see behind this, but from a technical standpoint, it's just another Lagrange point they implemented with some nice visuals around it. Like they could have done this 1 or 2 years ago. And yes, there would be hype around it, and the hype would be gone. I think it's maybe to generate hype, maybe just a coincidence, maybe to test something. But
We'll never know.
yeah, we never know. And I mean, like, as long as there's no 4.0 on the PTU, why should I care?
Well, I mean,
Like-
it's always just cool to have new things in the game, regardless. Now, the level that you do appreciate those, of course,
Varies person
should
to
change.
person. Yeah.
Exactly, 100%. But other than that, I pretty much agree with you. The only one thing I would say is I don't think they could have released it 2 years ago, because it does seem like the cloud tech they are using for the jump points is a lot more advanced than the Lagrange points, just in quality and the fact that they just have more animations and stuff like that. That doesn't mean they couldn't have released it a year ago or 6 months ago or something. So I do think it is still, they are doing it at this time for a reason.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I'm just going to continue to lean on SitCon demo for me personally. That's just where I think they are with that, and that's why they're there. But it's still very hard to say exactly why. But I do think STEMPEC is probably, I agree. They could have done this before if they wanted to, but I don't think they wanted to until they actually wanted them in game to test. Because here's the other thing with Star Citizen that's always been a bit of a problem, right? Is the number of locations in a server. Right, like we don't have as many caves as they want to do. We don't have as many outposts as they would want to have because, well, the servers can't handle these locations. I think when they did the demo on ISC of whatever they're calling munching now, structural salvage.
Salvage, yeah.
The big thing that they did to make the servers suffer was to just spawn in locations rather than spawn in people. Right. So that was the thing. And I think that's the reason for not bringing these in. This was a 33 gigabyte change to your computer. They said we would find out what that was on Wednesday. And all they really talked about was jump points. Right. So that's pretty much what caused that change. So why make that change and cause problems to servers unnecessarily until you need to? And for me, they need to see if they look good and work good and whatever, right? Can I spawn at the stations without crashing the entire server? Well, not in the first patch, right? So now in the second and beyond, everything's okay. So I think it's just a general game development thing. I think people are overhyping it, but be happy if you want to be happy, and I'm not telling you not to, but just making my own observations. Pretty simple.
Really hyped me, and I was very surprised it didn't hype the community that much, was like 3.21 and the replication layer, because this is when we read the letters of the Sherman with a friend, and we are both like IT guys, so we have a bit background knowledge. We first of all thought like, no way, these timelines, you're insane. And we thought like, maybe you can make the replication layer in 2 years, and he kind of did this. So we were okay, this is reasonable. So like, this is where we set our expectations, and I'm extremely hyped if this works, because like, this is like the foundation on what we're gonna play, and it's gonna be a massive change. I think people don't really realize what this could mean. And I mean,
what do you think?
If we understand this correctly, server meshing isn't really that far away from the replication layer. Like, it's only having multiple of these.
Isn't the authorizations basically
of
the other
right.
servers?
Yeah. Yes. So like multiple authorization servers, you're connected, and they just give you to wherever you are, to another server. And Like this backend, if they really nail this down and it works, this is where like I am extremely hyped. And I watched on YouTube, some mentioned it, but like everyone looks at the visual. Oh, nice jump points, and I was like, okay, there are clouds. There's a new Lagrange point. Nice.
I mean,
Haven't seen that.
do you think the lack of hype around this from what you're seeing is not that people aren't hyped for it? It's just that we've been down this road for a few years now of this is going to be the thing and this is going to be great, and then it isn't. I mean, obviously PES had incredibly big problems with it when it launched. I think the expectation is for this to have a very similar amount of problems, if not more. And do you think that people are more going to be just as hyped for it when it's on their computer and working than just Chris talking about it or Benoit talking about it in a Spectrum post? For me, that's sort of what it is I am excited for it. I understand what it means, but it doesn't mean anything until it's actively being worked on. And honestly, the most disappointing part of it was we renamed 321 and I haven't seen a replication layer test just yet. And I would have, based on everything that we saw so far, is my expectation is we would have probably seen it by now. If the latest, like early this week coming up, but no real conversation on when we'll see that. So it's kind of pretty, I don't know, pretty dog shit to mention it and then not do anything at all with that. I mean, with testing it.
I mean, it's been a week. I think it's a bit unrealistic to be like they essentially only announced how they're going to be testing replication layer on Tuesday, right?
But why?
If they don't say anything this week, then sure, I think that's a bit more hey, what's going on? Especially because 321. 99% chance it's the CitizenCon patch. And so if they haven't
now
tested
it's
it
like
by
official.
then that's weird.
What makes it even more official is that the A1 is not in any of the PTUs that excuse me, I just burped while I was talking. In any of the PTUs that we're playing right now. So it's clear that it's like right before SitCon, test the A1, make sure it's not a disaster, and go bombing people. That's basically what it's gonna feel like right now. But that's how I feel, and I am a little bummed. I was expecting, like, when you do a post, my expectation is very shortly after we should be testing that thing. But yeah, so I don't know. It's a copium burp, yes.
My expectations were like with the replication, much more time. I think we will see 3.21 drop around CitizenCon, so like in 2 weeks. And I think around then comes maybe, and it's a huge maybe, the replication layer in the PTU. That's my expectation.
Okay. Because
I think it's going to be there for a while.
For me, it was like, throw it into the PTU, who cares? But maybe the idea is, I think, and this is more what you were implying to, Croncy, is that 321 is the PTU patch, and they would rather not have the replication layer testing get in the way of the CitizenCon patch testing, right?
Yeah.
We want to get this thing playable, then we can make it not playable, and then so that makes a lot more sense.
And I wouldn't even be surprised if if anyone who doesn't know, they talked about running the like replication layer tests alongside 321 as like a sort of separate thing. I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen until live.
Yeah.
Like they 321 live. Like we probably won't see it till PTU. Especially because that's another thing where they can at CitizenCon sort of go like, if you want to test it right now, you can go do it because we just launched it or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. I know you don't have that much time, Max. So what else do you want to chat about, if anything?
Yeah, quality of life improvements. I mean, it's always great. Like the selling mechanic, I'm really looking forward to this.
The which mechanic?
But like
the selling quality of life in change. I assume you're talking about where your party members can sell stuff.
Yes.
Sorry. Yep. Yes. Sorry, I don't know why that went completely over my head. I thought there was something new with selling, that like the actual selling at a terminal, like selling guns back. That was the first thing that came to my mind, and I was like, "What? Tell me more about this." And now, okay, yeah, my fault.
No, Mike, that's technically just too difficult,
Of
We
course,
can't do that.
We need 57 clicks to sell one gun.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, very important.
Like in real life.
Yes, of course. Sign on the dotted line with your mouse. Just to sell one item.
So, but basically, you have the word Copium here. I'm very positive right now about Star Citizen. What I read in the monthly reports and stuff, I'm positive for CitizenCon. I think we're gonna see some good stuff there. Like, this is again, when CIG says something about release dates, I ignore this.
Yeah,
I think
everyone
about it.
should.
Okay, yeah, I think about, okay, what is realistic? Like, with my a bit knowledge behind it, I think like, okay, maybe in 2-3 years they say 1, yeah, maybe more 2 or 3, okay. And when I see it in 2, I'm like, okay, that's a good result for me. But I can understand people that don't have the background knowledge there. Like you said, 1 year, why it's 2? But like, this is expectations, and yeah, it's I think CRG shouldn't hype up stuff that they can't deliver in a time. But like, I mean, anyone is doing this in the industry. Like, you see some trailers. I think we just need to learn from it and manage it ourselves, and we're gonna be alright one day. Maybe not everyone.
One day.
One day. Like in 10 years when we maybe go to beta.
When I was watching Croncy's video, because Croncy's a bit of a younger lad, they made the comment of, it's real easy to be young and say some of these things, but time is actually a factor for some people. And like that I think people are starting to feel that pressure a little bit. I was young when I started following Star Citizen. I am no longer young, but there were many people that were old when I started following Star Citizen in the community. And I imagine that, like, it's crazy to think about, but they're probably starting to feel like, am I even going to be able to enjoy this game in the way that I wanted to? Like, my arthritis in my hands, I can't grip my joysticks anymore, right? Like, I'm not going to make the ultimate, scary discussion of, not being here, but like just enjoying it from a time perspective and all that stuff is actually a thing.
Difficult.
So it sometimes it is hard for people to say, just wait, it'll be okay,
On the other hand, when I look at the industry, I follow much Asmund Gold. I've seen in your recommendations that you maybe watched some videos of him, Mike.
I do, just a few.
Yeah, and when he like talks about World of Warcraft or Cyberpunk or Starfield a lot recently, and you see from these huge developers these new games. I mean, Cyberpunk looks really nice. Starfield didn't catch me that much, and the overall quality of gaming is declining. It feels like it is. And it's sad to watch.
I have to stop you there. I massive disagree with that.
Yeah.
Huge disagree. I don't think gaming has ever been better. I just think there's a lot of nostalgia that people are feeling.
Yeah, and I think marketing of these games overhypes them or whatever, and people create false expectations, just like they do with Star Citizen, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but
it's the fault of the companies.
I really enjoy that CIG is not developing, like, they're not going the safe route, and I think we have enough people that do this. And if you want the product now, there are excellent companies that deliver what is best doable right now. And I mean, when we look at the project, I think we all want, of course, now something, but in the end of the day, it's better to have something very, very interesting sometime in the future.
Stempeg, I think that's a totally fine thought process to have had in 2012, but in 2023, I think it's totally viable for people to ask to deliver something.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
But like, this is with the 2060. I don't want to go into this.
Yeah.
Like you said, I don't have much time. Yeah, but I think I'm positive, like about CitizenCon. I think we're gonna see something interesting there. I don't know what, but like I manage my expectations.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a defense mechanism and a good one for a lot of people. But
Yep.
all right, Stempek, we'll let you go and we'll continue our conversation on some of the other subjects. But dude, thanks for coming in, and I'm glad we got you in time.
It was a pleasure. Thank
man.
you.
Thanks for the call.
Bye now.
See you.
All right, so I want to jump into, I guess, because we touched on it a little bit with Stempek, is the quality of life stuff. Have you played a lot of the PTU patches this week, and how have your experiences been on them? Because it's been good, but it's also obviously pretty damn unstable, so it's been a little tough.
Hasn't been too bad for me. It's actually been performing better than live the last week, which has been nice.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever, we did a cast about quality of life, and they're continuing quality of life stuff. Awesome. They haven't stopped. Yay. Keep doing it. Just forever. But the biggest thing that sort of hit me this last week that was really, really good in the PTU was the actual like game performance, not necessarily servers, but like I saw massive frame rate increases. My CPU usage was way down. Everything was pretty snappy, all that sort of stuff, which for new players coming to the game is usually one of the big turnoffs, is when you like hop into a learning zone and you're at like 5 FPS, right? So that was, massive for me.
Okay, well, that's good. But I always go like, damn, saying that on the PT was always a bit of a dangerous thing, because when things go live, things tend to be different. But CPU usage is definitely different than server performance causing your frame rate to go down, obviously, right? So that's a big and important difference. My biggest thing, I guess there was two of them, they're like literally equals, is I haven't had a server client crash recovery work in 2 years, and I'm not exaggerating, and it worked this week. And the selling stuff as well that Stempek touched on, that was the biggest thing for me. I hopefully have a video ready for us on that, so I'm gonna kind of try and queue that one up. But that was huge for me. So I don't know, what did you think on that?
Well, it's one of those things where I haven't tested it, but I've seen people test it.
Okay.
It is just such a massive thing for fleet operations in general, for whatever you want to do. Being able to sell your friend's cargo is like, it's a huge deal, because then you can actually, set up like proper logistics and stuff if you're doing really whatever kind of gameplay you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And it just felt like they just kind of popped it in there. It was another one of those sort of changes that impacts the game a lot more than I think people realize, but it was just in a random patch note on one day.
Yeah. And like, so one thing I want to point out is you can kind of see the Vulture's lights are insane here.
They fixed that.
They fixed that, but you can also see them from 12 miles away. So that's it's pretty wild. But what we did was we had 2 Vultures that were salvaging this Redeemer here, and I went to each Vulture and grabbed 2 boxes each, and then they made 2 more boxes and swapped them with each other, just to make sure we had every base covered, right? And then we went back to Lorville, which I'll try to find us heading back to Lorville. This is too far along. This is the whole stream, so there's quite a bit going on here. Hopefully we can find it, but I guess it's loading or whatever. But the best part, and what I really hope I get to show to you guys, is I went to sell, and it's kind of interesting that it recognized 2 boxes and 2 boxes. So it still goes, here we go. Yeah, we're heading over there now. So it recognized that these were 2 boxes from Cryptical and these were 2 boxes from Meatly. And so they were separated. So that's right? I would like them to be together. But the best part, I think, was I left the party, immediately wasn't able to sell, came back, was immediately able to sell. So every possible edge case seemed to have been addressed before on the first implementation of this fix. So there was no like easy workaround for this thing not to work and for things to be really busted. Everything worked really well, and I'm super happy about that. So me personally, playing a a semi big org with a lot of people, and this is what we like doing, is going, all right, we're salvaging this thing. We don't use the reclaimer. We'll use a ton of vultures and then have a ton of little hull A's grabbing the boxes from them, and just like bees buzzing around is what we find to be really fun. But the biggest problem here was always like, well, who sells it at the end and everything. Now it's so much simpler that you can move everything to one cargo ship, and that one individual sells everything if you want to, or it's not even considered stolen if a bunch of people sell it. So the options there were just great. And I love this. The other thing, I'll see if we can get this to show, if I can just hopefully click and just find it. I believe I clicked right on it, is the crash recovery. So there was an automatic crash if you opened a red box at a bunker in the game. So it was easy to get that crash. I came right back to where I was. I am incredibly drugged up in this because drugs don't work on your injuries
they're not
right
working
now.
at the moment?
So like if you try to resolve your injuries, it works for 30 seconds and then goes away. Both
I wonder if
the med gun
it's probably just,
and the pens. All of it.
It's probably just a bug, but I wonder if that's got to do with their new medical system that I've been hearing little snippets of around.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, it was bad. I pop back in again. I'll try to move us forward to a point where I'm in. And there I am. I'm there. So I'm back at the location. This was only a 1 minute jump. So I'm back at the location and everything's fine, and I'm drugging myself up more trying to resolve the problems, but just can't figure out a way to. But that's huge for me, because right before this, the most important thing of this, do you see the right at the top of the screen? Get the goods is still there.
Yeah,
the mission is still there. So all of the problems with crashing to a desktop are seemingly resolved, other than the fact that, like, if I was here by myself, would the NPCs kill me? Yes. Right? So there's obviously, you're not in the server and it sucks. But outside that, those two quality of life changes are huge for me personally. So good for my org gameplay, and just super good for any issues you might come across. And I just love that. It still doesn't resolve the same problems with mining, although mining has always been able to do this as long as you were moving from mining ship to mining ship. So you were always able to refine from them and sell from them. There was no real ownership to those bags yet. So it just, everything worked well. And that's a rarity on an initial release to a PTU, right? Usually there's some little issues with it that you can give some feedback on. Nothing to give other than thank you. It's really good.
And we'll see if they have to remove the 30K. Sorry, not the 30K. We'll see if they have to remove the crash recovery again when we go to live. Because I feel like anytime we get those sort of changes, they start working on the PTU really well, and then the second we go to live, it just doesn't work.
Everything
for whatever
falls
reason
apart.
Yeah. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but it is good to hear that, at least at the moment, working fantastically, because as always, that's, once again, just a massive issue for a lot of people that turn them off the game. So good to hear.
Yeah, let's go to our next call from John Prox here and see what they have to say. Hey, John.
How you doing, John?
John, you there, buddy?
Hi.
There we go.
We caught you off guard, John. Sorry.
I'm here. Hello.
Hey, we hear you. We hear you.
Yeah. No, I was. Okay. First off,
catch your breath. Finish whatever you were eating.
Compliment the new format. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's wonderful. One thing I want to address is the fact that I'm hearing myself double.
Turn off the stream.
Okay, that will. Okay. Well, one thing what's really great is that I love the way they go with fixes. For example, the crash recovery, etc. It there was this bug yesterday evening in the PTU. I crashed like 10 times, but I always cut back to the correct place. So that's for me, that's one of the biggest improvements.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
100%.
Yeah, we agree 100%. It's awesome. You there, buddy?
Sorry, the audio is really bad.
Well, because
I'm there, but the audio is
because you're listening on the stream. I can literally, the delay is when you're hearing me on the stream only. Are you sure you're hearing me in Discord? Yeah, he's literally listening on the stream.
I'm not hearing you in Discord.
Yeah, so that's going to be on your end, so just figure that out, all right? I'm going to push you out, and then we'll bring you back in when you get your Discord audio resolved, okay? Just make sure you got it on, like, the right headphones or whatever. But I'll put you next in line, and we'll bring you right back in so we can have a normal conversation, okay? I don't want to do it on a super delay with you and have it be problematic for you, too, all right? There, he'll hear it in 10 seconds. We'll bring in Sergeant Lobster as he just popped in.
How you doing, Lobster?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good, man.
Nice, cool. Thanks for putting on the show. And Croncy, I think you're a good addition too. I know everybody's been saying that, but it's been fun to listen to you guys.
Thank you very much,
man.
But yeah, I'll be super quick. I've been in the chat here for a long time talking with people, and I don't know, I feel really excited about Star Citizen for the first time in, I think, years. I know, like, the last year or so has been a drought that honestly felt a lot like 2.6 on the wait for 3.0. I'm sure you guys probably felt that too, because it was pretty much just nothing happening. But everything that's been coming out has been, like you were talking about, the crash recovery and the new missions in the PTU. Everything seems to be actually working pretty well on release, which I feel like isn't something that we used to experience a year ago, 2 years ago. I mean, do you guys kind of feel the same, that everything's just coming out in a much more functional state that makes it a lot more fun?
I don't know if I would say this year things have come out in a functional state.
Yeah.
As an average, especially because of 3.18. But the last month, the last 2 months has felt really good in my opinion, in general, especially with the arena commander changes. And I think a lot of the, people just being hyped right now in general, even though we're trying to set low expectations for CitizenCon,
Yeah.
the fact that it's the first live CitizenCon in 4 years is just inherently going to make everyone's expectations higher.
Very
So
exciting.
everyone's a little bit more hyped, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, I just I feel like a lot of the stuff with the cargo boxes coming out, I feel like that was a pretty fun experience for just an initial implementation. And, it only got better once the larger boxes came in. I mean, just one patch later, right? So that was pretty cool. And I feel like things are, I know Chris Roberts a couple years ago said that, what was it? The floodgates can open was his exact wording. I mean, I don't want to take too much of the hopium, right? But I feel like this CitizenCon will be very telling for what's going to be happening in the verse for the next 2 years for us, the players in the community here. And I hope it's all good stuff. I mean, if the replication layer can come out in 3.21 and be working, quote me on this. Actually, please don't, because I'm going to be wrong. But I say Pyro in 6 months max.
Okay.
I don't think it's the worst take.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hopium for sure, but I think we'll be there in 6 months, and I'm super excited for everything that's coming. So that's really all I wanted to come on and say.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think it's possible. Sorry if you guys are watching live, and maybe this is even in the recording. There's a couple little glitches that I'm trying to resolve. That's why you just caught me turning off the TV. So maybe it's the video that was playing in the other scene. So I'm gonna mess with that and try and get that going. But so sorry, Sergeant, I haven't been as attentive to you as possible because I'm trying to put out these fires at the moment.
You're good, man. No problem. No problem.
Let's see if that was it. But maybe.
But yeah, I think 6 months is a pretty reasonable time frame in general. At the very least for a couple months of PTU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I know a lot of people have said this. It's pretty common sense among the community that Pyro is not all that exciting in and of itself, right? Because it's just another place to do the exact same stuff, right? But with Pyro, hopefully that means server meshing, which means the rest of maybe Bounty Hunter 2.0, those new investigation missions they showed off last year that have been, somewhere not talked about at all. So I'm hoping that a lot of this other stuff that is locked behind server meshing can come out too and really expand the verse. But
Bounty Hunter 2.0's got to be like, with the fact that they connected every like bounty hunting thing to a station now. It's like I got to assume we're seeing something at CitizenCon about that, right?
Yeah,
yeah, surely.
Yeah,
it's
like
been
that's
talked
like one of
about
the
a lot,
only ones that we can almost guarantee. I feel like.
Yeah.
And it seems like such a complex system. Like, for me to wrap my head around how this is going to all work for Bounty Hunter 2.0, which I know is not on our topic of conversation today, so I apologize for derailing you guys. But I mean,
whatever you want to talk about is the topic. It's fine.
I need to see this thing working in action. So hopefully we get a panel on that at CitizenCon. I think that would be really exciting for everybody to see, because it's just so complex, so many different moving factors. I mean, what happens if I get incapacitated? Do I just sit there incapacitated while somebody takes me to jail? What goes on there? So, but that's it.
Well,
that's really all I wanted to say. So
I will say, preferably not just a panel, but like an in-engine demonstration.
Yes, yeah, I think that's what it needs to be too. That and the engineering like gameplay. I really hope we don't see another prototype of it working, right? I think, and I feel like it needs to be part of the actual gameplay demo, right? Like play as an engineer or whoever that guy is who always does the CitizenCon gameplay demos that dies every time. Glenn, yeah. So hopefully he'll be our engineer guinea pig for the CitizenCon demo. I think that would be really exciting to see.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Or the lady who flew through the jump point, she's got to fly through it again. And but
please not mouse and keyboard.
Yeah,
it hurt me. It hurt me so much.
Have they ever brought out joysticks for a live demo?
I feel like they probably don't for as much as they can, just so they don't like favor a company or something.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised by it.
Yeah, and that's true. And also, I feel like most people aren't using that, right? All those peripherals, exactly. So they got to show that it's working on mouse and keyboard, which makes sense. So, but cool, guys. Yeah, I'll hop out. Let you get to the next caller. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for
thanks
coming
for joining.
on.
Thanks for all your takes.
Yeah, man.
Take it easy.
All right, later, brother.
Have a good one.
All right, let's see if John's gotten his stuff figured out as well. And again, it's just going down to like 40 FPS instead of 60. That's the only issue. Yep. But John,
you are still showing yourself to me if you want to turn that off.
Yes.
On Discord, that might help.
That was what I was trying to stop.
I think I've got everything fixed now, guys.
Yes, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Great. Well, first of all, I already complimented you, but I do love the new format. And the things I really wanted to ask the two of you, just say, let's forget about Pyro. We just get server meshing in the game and let that sink in and work just for Stanton. And if that's okay, then add Pyro.
Yeah, they've mentioned that before. I don't know if it was this year, but they've certainly mentioned that before as, I think, not even just a possibility, but like a likelihood that would be the case, that they'd get static before we get Pyro. The question is how long is it going to be like that? Because the way that they've talked about all of these systems is that PES was the most difficult and annoying one. And then the one that we're about to get, replication layer, isn't as annoying, and then static server meshing isn't as annoying, etc. So as long as we're not in a state where we're in a PTU of just static server meshing without Pyro for 3 months, I think it's fine.
Yeah, because I really want to enjoy the moment when I get into Pyro without having to worry about every crash. One of the the improvements they made for the crash handler, there was a patch yesterday, which basically every 2 minutes I just crashed.
Yeah.
But the good thing is I got in the same place at the same time where I was.
They were
mostly
just
at the
testing
terminal.
the crash recoverer, man. It totally wasn't on purpose.
But it worked though.
So
that made me kind of happy. And one of the things I'm really looking forward it is more the UI stuff, the things they've polished between quotes for Squadron 42, and bring that over to the PU, because that's one of the things I'm even looking more forward to than than Pyro itself. I want to be good, to have the game in a good place.
Yeah, I think that's been a big thing for a lot of players in the last, I would say, 2 years. Is a lot of people are just starting to be a lot less. Yeah, go ahead, guys, take all the time you need, and let the 30Ks and bugs keep coming. I think a lot of people enjoy somewhat the current experience. Obviously, everybody has their feedback and would want it to be a little bit better here or there. But I think most people are starting to enjoy what they're currently playing enough to the point where they want it to improve and be more stable and allow that experience to play out for a few hours or whatever and be able to do whatever they want it to do. And I think that's where CIG is starting to recognize as well. I think the amount of people excited for 318 and the amount of people disappointed by it really, really shows this year. And I think, I think that's kind of made a shift in their mind of like, yeah, we need to do these quality of life things. We need to, make sure that when the game crashes that people aren't destroyed by it, because they're not just testers, right? And I know that's sometimes how it feels, but it seems like they're finally recognizing us as players and not backers and not testers. So I think that's been a really good thing. And I agree. I think that's probably the most important thing, because I think everybody here recognizes that this is going to take a long time. I want to be able to say, take your time, because if the game is enjoyable, if it doesn't have to be the complete game that we all hope it to be, but if the game is enjoyable enough and doesn't have as much friction as it has right now, you can easily say, take your time then, right? But they make it too difficult to do that for right now. No, don't take your time. Fix the game and then take your time, is how I feel. Whether that's realistic or not, many software developers and game developers would tell you it's just not, right? Because as you're bringing in features, stability goes down. But at the very least, allow me to crash and not lose everything, which is what they did in this patch. So that's great.
Yeah. It definitely seems like it is sort of exactly like what you said, where they're a bit more, I guess, perceptive of like, that people right now play this as like their main game that they come home to, sort of thing, right? And I believe I want to say it was in the post-mortem, but it was some recent communication where they actually referred to it as a live service game, which I've never seen them do before. I know they knew that that's essentially what it was.
They have done it, but really? They do it very seldomly, because the game has not been very stable lately. A lot of what they, and this is a bit of a hater comment, but I think this is really how I feel, and I think this is something that they've always done, is it is a live service when it's convenient for them, and it is an alpha when it's convenient for them in their communications. But this was one of the first times where it was like, yeah, things are bad, but we want it to be more of a live service. And I think that's what really hit with that communication. It's a live service. We need to treat it as one. A little bit in the Roberts letters as well. Whether he said the words live service, they alluded to the fact that they wanted the live servers to be treated a lot better than the PTU servers and so on. So
sometimes a little consistency goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Of course,
absolutely.
And that's one of the things that kind of gives them a bad rep, because they are really inconsistent, and then all over the place, and then not delivering everything else, because they're doing good things and they're doing nice things, but they're not delivering everything as promised, or just a little bit more consistency, and I'm good. And I really look forward to CitizenCon, and I hope they show off for me a refinery gameplay. So just like you had with the salvages, mining stuff, putting them in a refinery ship, refining stuff, putting them in the cargo, get that loop going, and I would be like happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's not an unrealistic thing that we'll see, especially because if you check the progress tracker, they've still had people doing ship refinery stuff over the course of the last time we heard about it, which was like 2 years ago now.
Let's go.
So someone's working on it. Yeah, how much are they working on it is the real question.
Exactly.
But I think we'll probably see something like that. I wouldn't even be surprised if we're going into expectations and stuff again, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little section of just like, here's just some gameplay we would like in the future, 1 hour like concept panel thing.
Mm-hmm. That'd be nice.
A little bit of fantasy is always nice, but
Yeah.
make sure you get it back to reality and
I don't
be
want
honest.
it to be fantasy. I want it to be like, this is our design document and this is what we're sticking to as best we possibly can. Right? Like, obviously some things might change, but like I think the even though the mining design doc is still a bit off of what we have now, it's pretty close to what we have, to where I think it was an acceptable deviation from that design document, and that's more of what I would like to see from them, because I'm really tired of everything just being up in the air all the time, and I think players should know what they're buying and what they're getting into and what they're buying. I think most game companies let you know what you're buying before you buy it. This one, you just buy it and then see what it turns into. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Hey, same thing happened with Minecraft.
Sure.
I guess.
I bought it before survival mode was a thing.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said Minecraft. So for that,
Yes, Star Citizen is as good as Minecraft. That's what I'm saying, guys.
Well, it was really nice for you to have a little bit of time for me, and I enjoy every Sunday with you guys. So keep up the good work.
Thanks, John. We appreciate it. We really do. The comments around the changes to the show have been insane, and just so positive and so awesome. And I knew it would be better. I didn't know people would enjoy it this much. So yeah, no offense to Croncy, obviously, on that, but like, I've had guests on the show before, so it's like,
but Croncy makes you look good.
How so? Now I need to how explain.
It's the comparison, because I'm so much uglier. It makes you shine. It makes you glow.
I don't think
I saw him last week on his charity Twitch, and in the beginning you saw a really healthy Mike, and at the end of the evening, well, you didn't look that great anymore.
No, I wasn't feeling good either.
I could tell.
Yeah, the Hot Ones challenge was painful. It was incredibly painful.
Yeah, but you did a good job. Did you see my reply on your charity Spectrum post?
On the Spectrum post? Your reply? I read all the replies, but I don't remember yours specifically. What did you say?
I was the really lengthy one, and I put a little bit of your previous job in there and stuff like that.
Ah, yes, I do remember that. Like, you were the one that said, like, thank you and things like that, right? I think. No?
No.
Oh, well, I have a terrible memory. Don't ever ask me to remember anything. I'm so sorry, John. It's not that I didn't care.
It's hurtful.
Don't cry, John. Don't cry.
Well, guys, I will leave you alone, and
I'm going to go look back, and I'm going to reply to it, okay?
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, later, brother.
Cheers.
Have you ever talked to Puckilla before?
I haven't, no.
Oh, this should be fun.
Well, before we bring in Puckilla, no, I'm never nervous.
Okay.
Before we bring in Puckilla, though, if you want to come and join Answer the Call and talk to us about really anything, mostly CitizenCon stuff, it seems, because it's hype,
so
it's
close.
exciting, then make sure you come and check it out live at twitch.tv/SaltEMike, and you can join in on the questions.
See, that's what he means by the show's better, because he makes me look good, because I would never do that. Ever. Yeah. All right, let's bring on Puckilla. Puckilla is actually a really great caller, but he trolls me a lot, so we're going to see if he trolls you.
If it happens to me.
Yeah. All right, Puckilla, what's up?
What are we even doing, Pyro? It's just a bigger map emptier with a red color filter.
Yeah,
what do you get
from it? Sounds fantastic. Sounds like exactly my kind of system. I'm down. I'm keen.
It doesn't sound exactly the same, because there might be different resources.
Different resources for what? All you do is mine, and sell, and get cash. You can't do anything else with it. You're just wasting. You're just doing the fucking same thing for 5 years with different names on your fucking screen. Oh, I got this new.
Why are you at 200% volume on Discord? Oh my god! It worked out. It was perfect for the start of the call, but I just turned you down.
You can mine. What's the metal mineral that you can mine before? Nyrite, Caronite, diamond,
Tyranite.
Okay, then what are you gonna mine on the pyro? Huh? Pyronite or something?
Copium.
Maybe.
Copium.
Yeah, we'll mine some copium.
Yeah.
This makes no sense at all. There's nothing
agree.
new to do there.
I agree. That's why I think some of the things at CitizenCon, hopefully, like even everything like the Road to 4.0 stuff, not a lot of it was super exciting. I think the best information we got out of the entire year, I don't know if you remember this, Croncy, and I'm sure you don't remember this or watched it, Pakilla, but it was Dan Truffen and Torsten at the Con 42 German get together, and they were talking about salvaging. There's going to be unique unique components that you only find in salvage, more crafting stuff. Like they were implying that there was more going on than we're currently seeing. Maybe, and like that's my hopium for CitizenCon is that maybe we have some demos of like there is more here, and when you do get to these systems, there's more for you to do. But if I'm like, what is a jump point? What is Pyro going to do if it is Stanton next, other than the location looking pretty? That'll last for a little while for some people. But for how long? I mean, I'm obviously 100% in agreement with you on that front. They have to say that there's more to do here than anything, right? Like, what I really want out of Pyro is something that forces the less PvP inclined players to want to go to a PvP open, no holds barred area. Like there needs to be something to fight over, and for a reason. People still play to make money, Pakilla. I don't get it as much, right? Because it's just at some point the amount of money you have in your account is meaningless. But that's what Pyro needs to end up being. Is it going to be that on day one? I doubt, right? I don't know. I doubt.
I think the important thing to remember here is if you don't have fun with the game right now, just Pyro is going to mean practically nothing to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100%. I do have fun playing the game right now, and I do really enjoy the idea of just going to new locations. That by itself will be hours upon hours upon hours of fun for me.
He's a simple man, folks.
I am a simple man. You said it last stream. It's my turn this time, all right?
Yeah.
Letting your location.
I know that there is a lot of people. There is a lot of people where that is good enough.
Yeah.
For them to be excited. It's not good enough for the game, but you know what I mean? It is good enough for them to be excited about the location and just say, hey, there's cool new things to see. And that's fun.
Yeah, but every time a new location come up, that's like a week of playtime for me. And that's it. Nothing else. And one thing I don't understand why they move away is, do you remember they used to have a very big emphasis on this quest giver, right? You go to Lebeski, and you meet this quest giver who tell you to do stuff, and you have someone underneath the Grimhex, all this quest giver, and suddenly they just stop doing that. They don't give a fuck anymore. It's like the entire thing just disappear.
So that's another thing that I think is a must that needs to be at CitizenCon, because they've teased it this year as well, is they have the narrative team that they literally stop posting lore at the rate in which they were posting lore before, because they need to focus on the game. And one of the people of the narrative team was specifically hired to work on mission givers. We have seen 0 updates to mission givers outside of the last patch. The guy from Grimhex that you mentioned is never there. So they like in the notes it was like fixed, he's there. But outside of that, they've done literally nothing for them. And his job is to bring those back to life, as well as bring more in the future. And not only that, I think there was a monthly report where they talked about hiring more people for that specific thing, I believe. So for me, this must be a panel at CitizenCon. Not that I expect it, like I'm not sure, but I would really like it to be, because
it would make sense if it was.
Yeah, of course, because they haven't said anything about it. So maybe it was something that they were saving. It has to be a thing, because that is what is taking me. That's what's taking all of the work that they do on the game and makes it less interesting to me. Like, one thing we didn't have on, like, you know, the title here is the Inside Star Citizen. Oh wow, I put a fucking hacking tool into a thing, and there's a bunch of extra steps to another bunker that I've been down to 50 times. What makes that boring to me is that there's no grounding lore to those things. Like, they were like, we're bringing you this whole new company that you're working for that is a text-based company that means absolute caca to me. Like, it doesn't mean anything until you're interacting with a mission giver, or there's a voice call, or you know, like, more of that needs to happen. Like, just playing Starfield, seeing whatever little things about Cyberpunk that I've seen in recent times, that's kind of what's missing from the missions that we're currently doing. And I think that's what Pakil is calling out, is just what happened to these things that were actually grounding you to the system that you were in, were telling the story of the system you're in. They don't exist anymore. And it's
because
a
lot
mistake.
of people, when they talk about, oh, Pyro is coming, they always think there's going to be some game-changing new mechanic that we're gonna can and change the game. But the problem is that's not what other games do. When there's a new location come into the other game, there's usually
story.
new story element, and you do the same quest, but it's still fun because it's a new location and new lows.
Yeah. So that's
new
where
items.
That's where, like, Croncy's like, I love to explore things, doesn't work for me particularly. Like, I would love to I would love to explore it if there was the story to explore along with it, right? And I think they, like, started to do certain things like that many years ago with, like, the Benny Henge thing, and, like, there was so much of that we did love, but because they're still making the game, they just, like, stopped doing it. And I think, like, this is, like, with one of the other callers that we talked to, of, like, there's got to be a shift of it's this far in, like, yeah, we're still in alpha, but we got to stop treating it completely as that. I think this is, like, one of those times. Like, obviously we're not getting a story-driven RPG, right? Like, it's not a single-player game. Like, we're not going to get Starfield or Cyberpunk level.
But other MMOs have that.
Exactly.
Like, they don't necessarily have it to that level, but they still have it. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's where we need to go, you know? And that's why Stanton feels like it sucks. That's why Stanton feels like it's not enough, because of that. I feel. But I don't know.
I think the avenues are there, certainly, for Pyro. We know that they have been working on, at the very least, all of the gangs they've been working on all of their. Yeah, Xenothreat's there. We know that the other gangs have been working on outfits for all of them and whatnot. So the question is, are they going to take it that one step further and actually give them, like, some form of interaction that makes it more impactful?
Yeah. It's got to feel real.
At minimum, they should have something like a new world where it's just an NPC standing there, give you some dumb ass quest, you're gonna run around the map. That's enough. They can't even do the minimum. They have to do mocap.
I missed you, Pakil.
They have to do mocap. This is one thing that Starfield has broken for me, is that you can't not do mocap anymore. Animations look terrible in every game if they don't do mocap now.
And, like, so did you
play every game of this, like, fidelity?
I've never played Cyberpunk. Did you play that as well? And, like, people are definitely making comparisons between the two from those standpoints. Is, like, those interactions are just so much higher in Cyberpunk than in Starfield. And then Star Citizen is like fucking basement floor. I'm reading a text in my Moby Glass, right? That's where we're at with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What did you think to that, Pakil? Because you said they don't even need to mocap.
Well, we had a voice-only quest giver before, right? I forgot the name.
Rudo.
No, not a Rudo.
No,
before,
are you talking about Tessa?
Yeah.
Tessa,
That one. That's the minimum. That's literally the minimum. You don't even need a fucking model. It's just a voice line. Why?
I mean, they still do that a little bit, right? They did that with Xenothreat. They did that with Ninetales, where there is like a little bit of voice communication between everyone. Once again, it's even more minimum than minimum, but it does exist. But like, yeah, more of that would still be good, sure.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm quickly responding to somebody in chat because I feel bad for this person and I don't want them to feel bad. Does anyone notice that salvaging takes so much longer now and you don't get as much salvage? It's fixed in the PTU. They fixed it. It's going to feel that way on live, but it will be fixed in the in when 320 becomes 321. So, sorry. Yeah, I didn't want to ignore that person and then just be like, I hate the game now. So, yeah, it was a bug. They fixed it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm okay with a Tessa experience. I'm okay even with a New World experience for now. But I also am kind of with you, Croncy, that like I would like more, but I think I would be fine with more from mission givers and like heroes, and I would be totally fine with less from a random like one of the things that I really liked about Starfield is just walking in a landing location and people are having a conversation. You could just pop in and be like, I could help you with that. Right? Like, those don't need to be mocap necessarily. It would help, but like that's the grounding to the world that I want to be in. That like,
just makes it more alive.
Yeah, like I want Microtech people to maybe speak a little bit different than people that are on Hurston, and the types of missions that you would get there would just be different, and you know, the stories that are being told in those locations should be different. And I think that is the biggest, you don't want to say mistake, but that's one of the biggest pieces that are missing from this that doesn't make it feel like a game outside of the actual gameplay missing. Every MMO, most of the quests are fetch quests and kill quests, right?
Yeah.
So like,
I would say
what's the difference? It's that.
Yeah, so where we are right now is the vast majority of missions feel very much like mission boardy, where it's just like that's fine. They can still be very enjoyable, and they're very much designed to be grinded. And there's very few fun missions where it's like you kind of only really want to do once because of, you know, they're just interesting. The best mission in the game still to this day is years old, and it's the investigation mission at Covalex.
Yep. Again, voice lined.
So much fun.
Voice lined and all that stuff, and no characters, just voice MP3s to play. That's it. Yeah. And that's all it needs. But I will say is that's not what I think Paukilla and I are talking about of like the do it once missions. It's we want the missions to be done over and over again, and the current missions that we have are fine. But what's boring about those missions is that there's no little voice lines, there's no little lore, there's no story being told at those locations, which makes the grind unbearable. That's my feelings. I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, Paukilla, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm mostly coming from, because I don't really expect something that's high quality, or you know, something like
to be clear, Paukilla, you work in game development, right?
A little bit. I work on back and front end, jumping in between. So
like he's not coming from a perspective of you know, like a random backer. Like Paukilla has some knowledge on the subject, so he's not just coming in cursing and you know, being goofy.
My main frustration with the game is there are so many low hanging fruit they could have done in a time frame of 5 years, but there's something stopping them from doing that. I don't. The reason why they don't rush out on straight out on they're being lazy or what is, I know there must be something stopping them from doing all those stuff. It's just that when the fuck this thing just goes away.
Him wiggling his microphone. Oh my god. I mean that thing is probably Squadron, right?
Yeah.
But 100%. In the
100%.
last 5 years is the argument Squadron, since that's only been the last 2 years has really been an initiative.
Well, that's the thing. I would argue 2020, 2021, and like maybe the start of 2022, every 3 months we were getting a very impactful patch that like did add quite a lot to the game. So
Didn't
I
add
would say, yeah, it's not really a 5 years. It's more a 2 years. They might not have added the things that we're specifically talking about.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
they added equally impactful things, in my opinion, right? Like they added inventory, medical, refueling.
Looting.
Ha 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 ha. That works.
Yeah.
You know,
Bigger,
a bunch of
bigger,
features,
more players on a server. I mean, we can go on lists
Yeah,
on
yeah.
and on and on. All those things are important to make the game fun as well.
Yeah.
You know, the specific things we're talking about is what makes the mission so boring. You can you can make 1 billion missions, but they're still going to be boring if we don't start thinking about making them interesting from the storyline perspective. I think that
Yeah,
is, if there is one thing everybody can call it and probably agree on that's missing, it would be that.
Yep. And I
Yeah.
do think they do have an amazing lore team. The lore for this game is actually incredibly interesting if you're into that stuff. Love it.
It's just not in the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not in the game.
Well, it is, but you have to read it in your Mobiglass.
Well, even then, still barely. The information you even get from your Mobiglass is just like, we don't like the Ninetales for some reason. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. We don't have much on it, but yeah, I don't know. Puckhill, is there anything else you want to add and go on with?
Not really. The main point I want to bring out is just that I still not. Maybe I missed stuff, right? They have
course, yeah.
information spread all over
Even
the
we
place.
do.
Yeah, but so far I'm seeing no indication that the Pyro is going to be any different from what we experienced then, other than scenery. You know, scenery is cool. You know, I can get a week or 2 weeks of wandering around, immerse myself, and uninstall again experience like every single year. But yeah, I don't know. Still not seeing that Flocket was.
So we can play Gun Rush Puckilla for 5
Yeah,
years in a
true.
row.
Okay,
And I
here's
will.
the thing.
Don't think I won't.
Oh, he's triggered. I think I just triggered him.
No. I need the Gun Rush. I'm sorry, DJ. It kind of burned out a little bit. Can you add some more guns or something? You know.
You don't
already
like
burned
Gun
out?
Rush?
No, he said he's a little burned out. Can he like change the guns a little bit?
Yeah.
No.
I
No
think
shot. That's
There's
so
a
much fun.
couple guns I would swap from the current ones that we're
Sure.
using, but I love it. Did you know we're going to be skeletons next?
Yes, I'm so
on
excited
a
for
live
that.
again. I am not playing live. I never play live. No, that's nothing possible.
You only play PTU?
Yeah, it's the only place where the new stuff actually work
Mm.
for a while. Then once it reach live, I already play the new stuff, so I burn up. So I'm not gonna play live. You know, this is a vicious cycle I have gone through for the last 5 years, ever since 3.0 come out. Well, that's 6 years, 7 years.
2017.
Jesus Christ, I'm
6
old.
years plus. Yeah, we're all older than we were when we backed, but yeah, I don't know. I think Gun Rush is fine. I think I would change a few guns. I didn't get burned out from it yet. I'll say that. I did get burned out from the bugs, but in the most recent patch, they said it didn't even say should, but I'm going to still put the should quotes until we can actually try it and see that when the guns switch, you should be able to shoot every time.
I haven't even gotten burned out from single weapon elimination. I played that over and over and over today. I thought I would because it's just like, oh, it's just pistols only.
Oh, is that
so much fun?
No, pistols only is one of the best. So back when Star Marine first started, we used to do pistols only. Like I would play like Simon Says and things like that. And the pistols only was always the most fun because of you had to hit a lot of shots and you had to be accurate, and it just felt better. Like kills were more satisfying in pistol only modes, I think. So yeah. But all right, Puckilla, we'll let you go. And I miss you, and I miss playing games with you because obviously people would understand. I think your call is very entertaining and fun. We need to play some more games.
Yes, sir, we do.
What games do you want to play? Because it's clearly not Star Citizen.
I don't know if you. We can make Star Citizen work. We just not.
It's just
we don't.
It has to work.
We don't play the game to play the game. We need to play again. I don't know how to say. You cannot play Star Citizen.
No, you just experience
the way
it for right
it is
now.
intended to play, but you can bend it into your will.
I don't think it is intended to be played yet, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no progression system, so you don't feel like you can play. You have to make up whatever you want to play, and if somebody's not interested in the story or game that you're making up at the time, then they don't play it, right? Like I love to do the logistic stuff, but we're all just pretending and making it up. So it's it doesn't really work.
Except for
that.
racing. Racing pops off. Everyone should race.
True. I mean, racing is it has a start, it has a finish, and you're racing against your own time or other people. It's there's no issues with it whatsoever, right? It's like exactly what it's supposed to be. But yeah. All right, Paul Keller, we'll let you go because we got another caller, and again, I'm a little strapped for time today. So,
all right,
thank you very much.
Here's what I'll say is I know this is a game he put me on. I'm very close to playing Project Zomboid again. I'm really, or again, I've never played it before. I want to play that 10.0 update or 11.0, whatever it is. It looks so exciting.
Yeah. I've been seeing Henkin and Red play it a lot. It's getting me keen too. Yeah.
Yep, I want to get in there. So that's my next like really exciting game. That's not single player. I guess there's a bunch of single player games that I'm really excited for. But yeah. All right, Paul Kelly, we'll let you go.
All right, see ya.
Bye now.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, he's like I just consider him one of my friends out of like the streaming community. That was like I'm just talking to my buddy and not podcasting. My bad. I don't know. Before we bring in the next caller, I want to talk about this for a little bit. I got so much shit this week, and I've been consistently getting. I got my first "I wish he was dead" this week.
Jesus.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to read that, Mike. I sent that in confidence.
So like,
that's brutal.
I know, and like, dude, I didn't even say anything bad all week about the jump point stuff. I made a little Copium joke, and people went off. Yeah, man, people went off. So
that's wild.
Yeah, like I just like I've tried to reiterate everywhere I've spoken over the last little while, so I want to take a moment to do that. The jump points are cool. Going to new locations is cool. Being happy about something is cool. And whenever you say something that might be different than other people's opinions, or like when I post content on the internet, and same with you, Croncy, and everybody, whenever they post content on the internet, they're sharing their opinion. And they're putting it out there in the world. And obviously, some people won't agree with it and say something bad about it. But I don't I'm not sitting there putting content trying to rain on anybody else's parade. I'm just, whether it's like my own coping mechanism for, hey, I want to be a little bit more calm on this because I'm not really sure it's going to come out. That's all I'm doing. And there's no reason to get all crazy about other people's opinions. Just make yours, and that's it. It's I don't get it. It was super weird. I wasn't aggressive towards anybody, and I caught so many strays this week. So yeah,
he's becoming too famous, chat.
Do you think so? I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
100%.
feel that way, and maybe this is a result of it. This is like when content creators start losing their minds, and I'm starting to feel it a little bit.
Well, because I don't think any of your takes are like insane. You know what I mean? Like I disagree with all of them, but I don't.
I mean, you can disagree
like
with
that
them,
crazy or anything. But no, that's what I'm saying, right? So it's like
you could tell they probably come from a base. Like I'm standing on some ground.
Yeah.
When I say them, sometimes I don't know.
Yeah. It's just such an overreaction for just like this most basic take of like essentially, hey guys, don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, like this probably is. Right? But the thing is when you say, hey guys, then they're like, you're telling me not to be happy. I didn't even say that. I didn't even say, hey guys. I just went, holy crap, there's like a bunch of copium overdosing going on right now, which is just like, people are super hyped. This is crazy. Like that was what I said. Yeah. That is what I said. That was it. It was nuts, man. So I was like, holy. Like I was like, I didn't even do anything. Like I get it when I say some crazy shit and it doesn't bother me, but when I didn't say any crazy shit and I still got it, I was like, this is either really good for me or really bad. And it's probably really good, but it doesn't feel good. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it feels bad. So let's all, guys, I want us all to apologize to Mike.
I'm
in
crying
chat right now.
I'm crying. No, but
everyone.
this is, I guess, a moment in my career. I hate saying that, but this is a moment in my career where like I got to stop. Like I'm not going on Twitter anymore, and like going to the notifications tab. I'm not like John. Like, did I read his post on Spectrum? Absolutely. I read every single post. I read everything, and that's part of the problem, right? I think like this week tells me I'm not reading shit for a while because it was like this week really bothered me, and this was like one of the first times that's happened. But yeah, like do you because you have a more positive take sometimes? Do you get those comments and how do you?
I know you remember when I made that PvP video?
Yeah, I didn't even. I didn't even post my react because I thought it was disrespectful.
Yeah, I got some stuff. I'm not going to go into it, but it was pretty messed up. And the best bit about it, I just will say, is they were wrong about my take, and so that was a little bit funny, but it was still pretty messed up. But yeah. It's the internet, it's video games, people overreact constantly. It's going to happen. I do think it is more just a case of you're already huge in the community, and then like you are getting bigger in the community. It's bound to happen.
Yeah.
So just chill, Mike. It's all good, mate. Don't even worry about it. Just take an Australian attitude.
Yeah, right. I wish it. But yeah, I mean, it was just. I think it just goes down to like everything we were talking about today. Just the like, it's all cool. It's all cool. Yeah. I'm still just on the road of it's all really cool, but just show me you can do it. I can't wait to get to the point where when CIG says something, we don't have to go, just ignore that. Like that's all that's really where I want to be with this is I don't want to have to say like, just ignore that. It's no big, it doesn't mean anything. Chris said a date again. Wow. Like, I really look forward to the day and hope that the day it happens where they say something and we can go, like, I have some level of confidence that they're going to deliver on that. And for right now, they haven't, given us that confidence, but more and more and more, they seem to want to give us that confidence. So maybe they'll achieve that at one time. And I'll keep praising them for trying, but, I'm looking forward to them succeeding.
And to take it a bit back to, the titles and stuff. Yeah. They are kind of doing that with quality of life. Yep. They said they want to do it more. It's happening more. And if it continues to happen more, that's, you get a lot of trust from that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I'm at with that. We'll bring in our next caller. And I just wanted to point that out and get that off my chest a little bit, I guess. And just keep everywhere that I posted this last week. I just wanted to make sure that, like, I wasn't misunderstood, that, like, this is all awesome. No. And Morph's video really did that for me too when he talked about the World of Warcraft thing. Like that's what's hype about it, and that's what I would focus on for that. It's super cool. All right, we got Space Monkey Business, who I think called in last week.
Yeah.
So how you been, man? Welcome back, I should say.
Good. Thank you. Very stressful week, but that depends on the real work, not the Star Citizen stuff. So it's all right. I missed the start of it, so I don't know what you talked about in the regard Copium.
Jump points.
Copium, very much jump points, and a little bit replication layer stuff. Just a lot of and I'm in that group of just a lot of people saying the 4.0 is going to come out by the end of the year in some fashion. Is everywhere in the community right now.
So you are the good cop here in this little setup. The good cop.
I'm the Copium where if it doesn't come out, I don't care that much. I'm like, I hope it comes out, and then when it doesn't, I'm not that disappointed anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm totally relaxed with the project at this point, but because if you put too much hope into it, you get burned. So anyway, I wanted to drop a comment and a question for you because the comment is, I watched the last IC, and you both saw the part with the bounty hunter ship where this thing comes out of the back.
Sure.
And I thought about why you do it this way? Is it not the next tedious thing to do? Because when you think it through, is you hunt somebody, then you got him, and if it's down in the cave, you have to drag this box down to the cave to pick him up which means you go down, you kill him, you go up, drag the box down, or you drag the box with you. It sounds so tedious to me.
Well, you would have to drag the player, right? I have a thought that, because here's the deal: is you can bring them in warm or you can bring them in cold. I think has always been a possibility, and the problem with bringing them in downed potentially is that player is stuck there for how long? I think putting them in the crate will probably create a situation where that player can respawn, and and the state of that player now can change. But if they're just out, there's never an opportunity for the state of the player to change. That's my guess of doing it that way, but I don't know. That's always been the conversation of like, you are caught in the bounty, that player is carrying you, but your gameplay session has not stalled. You can be out doing something else. That's very dangerous in the point of like, I might go back to where you are and then there's two of me. What happens? There's like all this weird stuff, but that's maybe why. They're both incredibly tedious, I think, though.
A lot of the conversation around Bounty Hunter 2.0 is just naturally speculative, because they just have not really talked about it at all. And once again, of the things that you can expect, I would expect a Bounty Hunter 2.0 thing at CitizenCon. But the one of the things that they have mentioned is that, if you get caught by a bounty hunter, you will have the option to essentially go straight to jail. And you can not do that if you're like, hey, SaltEMike, I just got caught. Can you come like attack this guy and pick me up, sort of thing, was like also an option. I don't know if that's going to be related to how they're going to do this box or whatnot. I do think the most times you're going to use that, though, regardless, it's probably going to be just for the PvE bounties. It's essentially going to be a glorified delivery mission.
I hope it's not, but I hope it's for players too. But again, that is such a game-breaking experience for those players, right?
So basically, if you're downed, you first have the option to kill yourself, and the other option will be, give up.
Whoa, we say backspace here, folks.
Backspace. Okay. Which is honestly a way better term. We should just use that in real life.
Yeah.
Backspace yourself, and everybody else is what is he talking about? Is he not? What
the
drugs?
People that know, and that's all you need to know.
And the question for you would be, how do you think about having a less tedious version of, or giving the player options to have like a less... No, not towards the bounty hunting, but in general. I thought about the cargo gameplay and what we saw in the Hull C trailer, where they just docked and sleep in the in the ship until everything is loaded up. So what about you have this very immersive version where you have to go in and get all the stuff and then go out, which is like really tedious, but whatever. And if they want to have that still in, they can have it. But what is speaking against another option that having like a different or like a similar functionality into a MobiGlass app? With the caveat that if you use the MobiGlass app to buy your stuff or do whatever, or sell instead of going to the refinery, start the refinery job from the MobiGlass.
Then for them, they're like, why did we make these pretty locations? For us, it's like, that would be great.
And here comes.
But also, the understanding is in that specific example, that is kind of their intention, is that you will be able to essentially be hands off when you want to like load or unload your Hull C. It's just going to cost you money and time. Is their specific wording as frequently as a month ago?
So my point,
recently as a month ago. So.
Yeah,
true. But my point is with what speaks against having those two options, and the other one has the advantage that it's just cheaper. Or if you go to the terminal, you get a better price, and if you use the MobiGlass app, it's just worse price, but it's faster. So giving player options.
Do you think that players aren't really understanding that cheaper is better because there's no gold sinks and because the value of money in the current game is so low that saving money, who gives a shit about that right now, right?
No, I mean for the long term. I'm definitely talking not about now, because now we know this is not the optional, but
of
like
course,
long term value.
But I get that, but do you think players are not making or having these conversations because of the current experience? Is what I'm saying, right? Like it's not as easy to look into the long term without looking at the current experience and being like, well, this is how it is, you know. So why should I care about money and savings? Because they've done this with the multi-crew versus single player ships a lot. Is like, why would I want to fly a single player? Like, you know, the mole versus the prospector. That was always their argument. And then we made the counter argument that no, that's stupid. And they made the mole, and they made the prospector the prospector. So they're going to have to do that with everything. And
no, I mean, for me, it's always the question of what kind of players do I want to attract, like as a company, that players that want to play my game.
All
Everyone.
of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Because when you want to attract all of them, you have to give them different options to be attractive. For like the space stats, they don't have much time, which means they could maybe be more motivated to play if they see there is a less tedious option for them because time is running for them more.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, that's exactly what they're doing. They've got that as an option for players that they will have, that option for players that don't have that much money, don't have that much time, rather, that sort of thing. So, the one thing that is interesting though, is they are trying to appeal to all players. They 100% are, which creates its own massive web of issues.
Yeah,
because inevitably you have to, everyone has to lose something because you cannot make a game for literally everyone. That's not possible.
Reminds me of this Tech Longer video from 2 years ago where they said they want to create the Matrix. I was like,
kind of. And the thing, like with what Croncy says, I think that's why we see a lot of this like PvP versus PV, like the casual player communities that are like butting heads. Is the PvPers are like, this is open warfare everywhere, and the other players are like, well, I don't think that's a good idea, and then they just go like this and yell at each other, and it's like the reason that everybody's doing this is because nobody's telling you what it actually is, and nobody knows what it actually is. So there's one person saying is this, one person saying is that, and then they're all just yelling at each other, and that's the problem. Is you can't make a game for these guys and these guys at the same time, or you can, but they can't all be in one system at the same time, right?
Yeah, there's got to be compromise.
Yeah.
And if you want to attract like the big chunk of players that play normally MMOs, you have to bring up some achieving or some reputation and progress system to attract them. Because
that's me. That's the thing
me
I've been yelling about. Yeah, that's the thing I've been yelling about all these years.
Give me something.
Exactly. And that's where like the players who don't play those will often disagree with me a lot, but it's like, you know, this was kind of described as an MMO, and you would want some of these experiences to be in the game. I definitely understand that I'm not going to be leveling my mining, right? Like, I get that part, but I do want there to be a feeling of that with reputation and, oh, wow, you opened me up to a really cool new mining laser to make my experience unique and different and exciting. Like, that's where that's where there's give and take, right?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be a skill system. Like we talked about it in the past. I don't know if you remember, since you
don't ask me to remember anything.
Yeah. Because I remember you dropped the comment of, "Oh my god, my memory is so bad very often." So
Mike's memory is still very low level.
My wife, it's so bad. My wife is scared that like I'm gonna have Alzheimer's and stuff. Like, it's that
maybe
bad.
on release.
Yeah, I'll probably and that'll be so horrible because or it'll be great because I'll forget all the pain to get to release and I'll just be able to enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
You laugh now, Croncy. Come on to our age, then we can talk again.
Yeah,
I don't plan on living to that age. That's okay.
Young and...
just 37, and Mike is, I think, 38. So come on.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Right. I want things to be better, and I think we're slowly getting there. The little quality of life things we had, it's a start, but I think I want to keep seeing this throughout, like just seeing that pop in with no discussion of it prior. It was actually Xylo came into my chat and asked, what quality of life things would you like to see change? That was like one of the number one on my list was the trading thing, and to see that come in Not that I did that. I'm sure many people wanted that as well, and shared that sentiment. But that was like, damn, yeah, that was something I wanted. That's nice. I'm excited for that. Cool. But yeah, Space Monkey will let you go. It sounded like you were done. I think I'm correct on that.
Space.
Yeah. There's plenty of opportunities to
every week
raise up other topics in the future. So
every week. You could be a regular guest. We're totally fine with that.
If
We've enjoyed the calls.
Sure. I don't know if I have time every week, but
we gotta give other people some time. We gotta get Punkilla in occasionally to yell and scream because it's entertaining.
Pretty funny. Yeah, I have to watch the VOD for that because I missed I think the beginning. Yeah, he's pretty funny to be honest.
He's a legend. Trust me, he's a legend.
Okay, I have to watch that.
Yeah. All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
Thanks for the call.
Have a nice weekend. I have to go for a walk. I need to move the body.
Yes. Enjoy.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Now.
See ya.
All right. So I guess that was our last caller for the day.
Yep.
Any closing thoughts? Because it's about time for me.
Yeah. Just as a quick sort of finish, because we didn't talk about it really at all, just was the sprint report, other than the Hornet. There was just a lot of stuff in the sprint report that, me and Mike off stream did talk about. Like, that is the stuff that's really good to see, that we want to see more of.
Yeah.
Because it's like...
the type of content.
Showing actual progress. Yeah. Showing actual progress is always great. And it's cool to listen from the devs and stuff, but when you've been watching ISCs for years... they obviously inherently get repetitive. So,
Jared coming on like, you're not going to like this, guys, I'm so sorry, is so projecting of like, this isn't the type of content I want to make. But like, bro, you got to recognize that like, this is the type of content that's at least some of your backers want to consume. Like the ISC production value has been great. It is. It's really awesome.
Yeah.
But And I think others definitely enjoy to have these sprint reports occasionally, right? It doesn't have to be every week or anything, but it was good. And it's just good to see it. And the best part about that is that was the stuff that they didn't want to spoil from CitizenCon. So there's more than meets the eye there, right? So, yeah. I don't know. I just want more of that. I know it's not possible to get every week, but we don't need the production value. We need the information as much.
Yeah.
Production value is great, but deliver a good product and know your audience and know what they're coming to your stuff for. And I don't think many people are coming to learn the process of game development. That's everyone backed for spaceships and video game. Like, the fuck? So,
Where's my Kraken?
True. I mean, that's where I'm at with it. But I don't know, Croncy, got anything going on this week? Obviously, we're actually not going to miss any Answer the Calls, like, through your travels.
Sort of.
Right?
They're the one during CitizenCon, but like,
obviously,
that'll be different. Yeah,
but you'll still hopefully be able to call in and say what's up. So fingers crossed, the internet's good over there.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yep.
Other than that, we had the Heat 1 of Scarlet Apex yesterday. So that started. It was very, very fun watching Team CIG almost win in a hammerhead. They almost got there, not quite though. So we've got Heat 2 of that next week, and then the third Heat's after CitizenCon. Yeah.
I guess I should announce now that it's pretty much confirmed that I will be covering CitizenCon, but I'm not just going to be covering it by myself now. Level Cap reached out and was like, hey, want to cover CitizenCon together? And I was like, yes, that would be awesome. So we're going to be doing an Answer the Call-ish style thing like I've done for years, both on my channel and on his. So it'll be broadcasted on both, and we're just going to cover the event, but not a lot of details because we don't know the schedule. So how we're going to cover it, if we're even going to cover something, like, it's just, we don't know. So there's a lot of unanswered questions that we need to find out, and I'm sure we'll find them out this week, and then I'll give you more information. So just letting you know, there's going to be coverage here. Whether Level's here the whole time, I'm going to be covering it the whole time because I have no life. But the what that coverage will look like is still unknown, but we know we want to. So I think it's about time we announced it. So that will be that. Yeah. And yes, the plan is to keep it Answer the Call-y style. So other content creators calling in from the event, and you guys as well should maintain to be the thing. It should be a constant.
Yeah.
So.
And then a thing for all potential callers next week. I want to hear your predictions for CitizenCon because it'll be the week beforehand, so then we can all laugh at everyone after CitizenCon happens.
Yep.
Because that's obviously going to be a large topic next week.
Yeah, so we'll do the your sitcom because obviously there's no content coming out of CIG this coming week. So what else are we going to talk about? So our expectations. We can have bingo cards or whatever. We can do that fun stuff, and then I'll be covering the event on that Saturday and Sunday, and then when we come back, we can share our thoughts on how we really after it's sunk in for a week of all the cool stuff that we saw there. So. Guys, that was Answer the Call. Croncy, as always, thank you for being a great co-host and having great conversations. Callers, thank you so much, as always. If you guys enjoyed the show and are watching on Twitch, we did start an hour early today, so I kind of kept the view count on and watched it kind of peak around the time we would normally start going up. So it will be on YouTube like ASAP. I have to, because I have a family gathering that I'm going to right now. And so it'll be up like ASAP. And then if you're watching on YouTube and ever want to take part in the show, it's pretty simple. Stop by twitch.tv/SaltEMike. Sunday mornings, almost always at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. UTC. And join Discord, discord.gg/SaltEMike to join in on the conversation. So once again, Croncy, thank you again. And we'll catch you guys all next week. I have it this time.
Remember to answer the call.
Oh, no. He's made a thing that we have to do at the end of it. At least we have a real outro now. I never really had one, right? So now I feel cool.